Was WWE Evolution 2 a success or a failure? Well, that depends on how WWE decided to measure the success of that PLE. But in today's video, we're going to look at the good and the bad of Evolution 2. Starting with the good. Anytime we get to celebrate women's wrestling, I think is a good thing. We've had decades of men's only PLEs and pay per views dating back to the WWF and WWF days. So, it's only right to have some all women PLEs every now and then for WWE. In fact, I think that they should have a WWE all women's PLE close to the time of WrestleMania so that they can culminate storylines during that time. Of course, we would want to see some women's matches on WrestleMania as well, but any women's matches that don't make it onto that WrestleMania card, I think can go onto this Evolution pay per view that happens around that time, and they can help culminate some women's storylines during that time frame as well, and start that new. I don't know if it's a fiscal year for the WWE or whatnot, but it almost seems like post WrestleMania is like the start of a new season or a new year for WrestleMania. So I could see Evolution happening around that time so that they can restart those, either restart or refresh some women's matches in WWE. I mean, they've got so many titles that they can have enough for an all women's PLE at least once a year. Secondly, I thought that the storyline build to the three-way match between Bailey, Becky Lynch, and Lyra Valkyria was a really good storyline build. It combined storylines pre WrestleMania and around WrestleMania time when Becky Lynch stepped in for Bailey for that tag team match. And then, that feud started to build between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. Then when Bailey made her return, threw her into that mix. It was something that we got to see every single week that built towards this match at Evolution 2. It was honestly probably one of the only matches that had a proper build to Evolution 2. That storyline I think was done really, really well. What was also done well was the matches at Evolution 2. Even though some of those matches were put together pretty quickly and didn't really have a build, I thought that the pairings of the matches themselves, I thought we just got some really good matches. All of the matches made sense. And then the way that the wrestlers executed those matches, I thought they did it very, very well. Honestly, from top to bottom, I thought that the card was a really good card. It had a really awesome surprise ending at the end. And overall, I think it was one of the best PLEs, if not the best PLE of 2025 so far. I also thought that the crowd looked and sounded good on TV. I was a little concerned with the low ticket sales leading into the PLE, which I'll talk about later. But I thought that the crowd showed up. They looked like a full house on TV, and they sounded great. They were clapping, they were loud, they were cheering, they were booing. So the crowd really showed up for the event, which I thought was really, really good. And I was just so blown away with how the crowd accepted and received the PLE from the first match. When Bailey, Lyra, and Becky were in the ring, and just as the bell rang and they were about to, start up, the crowd gave them a standing ovation. And that really set the tone for the PLE. I thought it was a really, really good thing for that crowd to do because they absolutely deserved a standing ovation. I think the people that were there were really excited to have that PLE happen. It was 7 years since the first Evolution had came out, and it was really, really good to see an all women's pay per view and everyone showed their appreciation with that standing ovation to start the PLE. And honestly, as a wrestler, they probably felt that energy and they knew that even though it was low ticket sales going in, they knew that that night, in that very moment, they were going to put on a great show. And that's what they did. And the crowd was really behind it. Now let's look at the bad. I mentioned low ticket sales earlier, and there was a report that 9 days prior to the event, the event only sold 4,803 tickets, which was less than half the amount that the Saturday night's main event, which happened the night prior, had sold. The Saturday night's main event just sold over 10,000 tickets, which is probably what they hoped to had sell for the Evolution 2 pay-per-view. But they were coming in much, much lower, which was probably one of the lowest in a very, very long time. In fact, in an article from cultaholic.com, it was the lowest paid attendance for a WWE pay-per-view since Stomping Grounds, which took place in Tacoma, Washington in June 2019 and attracted around 6,000 fans. So probably lowest attendance in about 6 years, which isn't a really good sign considering for the last year or two, WWE has been incredibly hot. They've been selling out a lot of shows, and they've been moving a lot of tickets despite high ticket prices. So, with the low ticket sales, that was a little concerning. 9 days prior to the event, they actually upgraded people who bought the combo tickets from Saturday night's main event and Evolution. Anyone that bought in the upper bowl ended up getting upgraded tickets to the lower bowl, so that to fill in those spaces there. Now, the low ticket sales could have been for a variety of reasons. Apparently, there was a Beyonce concert that was happening right across the street, so that may have impacted ticket prices. The storyline build was almost non-existent, so that also didn't help things. And then I also heard that it was originally supposed to take place a week prior, but then they moved the date to July 13th. Now, would Evolution 2 have been a success if it had taken place on July 6th? We'll never know. But that's the good and the bad of Evolution 2. If you were to base their success on ticket sales, if I were WWE, I'd look at that and probably say that there's not really an appetite for an all-women's pay-per-view since the ticket sales were so low. Again, there were a lot of different factors to it, but at the end of the day, when you look at the numbers did not show that the show would be a success. But if you were to look at the quality of the show, the matches of the show, the talent, I think all of that is a success. WWE has the strongest women's roster right now, so they are definitely capable of putting on an all-women pay-per-view and putting on a strong all-women's pay-per-view, which they did at Evolution 2. But they have to be a little bit more strategic in the way that they do it. Like I said, I think that if they had that Evolution 2 or the future Evolution pay-per-views around the time of WrestleMania, I think that they would have a lot more success with it. They'd be able to build towards it properly. Again, they can culminate storylines and start new storylines right around that time, and it will match up right around WrestleMania, which, I think most people look at that as like a year end for wrestling, or at least WWE anyway, and to restart and refresh storylines during that time. That's my take on the success of Evolution 2. If you made it this far, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I put out bi-weekly videos and short videos when inspired, so make sure to subscribe and lay the smack down on that notification bell so you don't miss a video. That's it for me today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.